Welcome to the December 20th, 2023 City Commission meeting. Sadly, this is our last meeting of the year. Some people are probably cheering that it's our last meeting of the year, but it is our last meeting of 2023. Mr. Wiley, would you please do the roll call?
Commissioner Rocky Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Adam Morrow.
Here.
Commissioner Mike Mitchell.
Here.
Commissioner Frank O'Donnell is excused tonight. Mayor Denise McGriff.
Present. Would you all stand and please join me in the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. So the first item on our agenda is 3. It's ceremonies and proclamations, and I will have the pleasure of giving the oath of office for the new Oregon City Police Sergeant, and I will turn this over to Chief Davis while I'm coming forward.
Perfect. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Commission. I'd like to call up John Neese. We're excited tonight to swear in John Neese, who was recently promoted to Sergeant. John started his law enforcement career as a reserve deputy with the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office in 2006, and where he served for almost 3 years before he was hired by us in July of 2009. Since joining our team, John has been a field training officer, an officer in charge. He was on the crisis negotiation team where he won Negotiator of the Year for his exceptional negotiation skills, and detective. John was recently promoted to police sergeant on October 29th, 2023. And he's completed all his training, and you might see him. He's currently one of our day shift patrol sergeants. Here tonight with him is his wife, Megan, and friends.
There we go. It's green light. All right.
Okay.
So you just start with I, John Neese. Yep.
Okay.
And we have to raise our right hand.
I, John Neese, do solemnly swear that I will uphold the law and support the Constitution of the United States and the state of Oregon. I will abide by the law enforcement code of ethics and department's rules and regulations while faithfully performing my duties as a police sergeant for Oregon City, Oregon.
All right. Congratulations. Come sign in. And then you have to vote. So we're going to get in the second. So next on our agenda is a proclamation about this 179th anniversary of the City of Oregon City. For those of you that are not aware, our birthday is December 24th, 1844. So known, I don't even know what that letter is, Jacob. No, it isn't a Y.
No, ye by.
Oh, know ye by proclamation, yes, okay. Whereas on June 26, 1844, a petition was presented to the provisional government for the issuance of an act to incorporate Oregon City. Whereas the bill to incorporate Oregon City was read for the third and final time, then passed on December 24, 1844. And whereas the City of Oregon City was, on that date, the first incorporated city in the American West, that vast area beyond the Missouri River. And whereas the provisional legislature gave Oregon City its first charter and proclaimed it to be the capital of the Oregon, actually it was the Oregon Territory, Oregon country. And whereas a day is hereby set forth to commemorate this important event. Now, I therefore, I, Denise C. McGriff, Mayor of the City of Oregon City, do hereby proclaim Sunday, December 24, 2023, as the 179th anniversary of the incorporation of Oregon City, and urge all citizens of the city and the state on this Christmas Eve to honor this great heritage and go forward in harmony, peace, and prosperity, and continue to be good stewards of this beautiful land. In witness thereof, I will set my hand and cause the great seal of the City of Oregon City to be affixed on this 20th day of December, 2023. So that is, so we won't sing happy birthday, but I also wanted to read one other thing, is that I asked a friend of mine to help me with some research, and I found the oath of office for the first mayor of Oregon City, whose name was William Kilbourne. And it says, Territory of Oregon. He said, I do solemnly swear that I will support the town of Oregon and that I will faithfully, to the best of my ability, perform the duties of mayor of Oregon City. So help me God, signed William Kilbourne. And it was witnessed by George Kitzenberger before me the 7th day of August, AD 1850, and then Mr. Pritchett was the secretary of the territory. So that was the oath of office by the very first city of Oregon City Mayor, William Kilbourne. And since then, we've gone on to have many more mayors. So on the 24th, while you're celebrating that day, say happy birthday to Oregon City. And again, I love to tell all my colleagues, we're older than you. So, and thank you, Jacob, for attaching some of the information that you did regarding the information from Dr. McLaughlin. And I will tell you, I'll have to take a look at it in the form that you have it, because even when you copy it, it was quite interesting to read. I couldn't read half the words, but, you know, and I can read cursive. So, but it was really interesting to see his description of the city, and then making some provisions for a council, and it goes on and on. There's many, many pages, you know, that the mayor be ordered and trustees to do these certain things, and talked about, you know, making sure that there was going to be some revenue coming in. Quite lengthy. There's, at least I printed it on half a dozen pages. And then also just the whole fact that Mr. Kilbourne was, so that would have been 1844. So Dr. John McLaughlin was mayor in 1850. And he did not serve for a long time. I think it was like 7 or 8 months. And then somebody came after him. So, all right. So on with the festivities and for the 24th. So we have some citizen concerns tonight. And I'd like to call Casey Fletch. So come on up, Casey.
Mayor McGriff and Commissioners, my name is Casey Flesh. I've lived in Oregon City since 2006. I live in the McLaughlin neighborhood near the old high school. I'm here tonight to urge you, the strongest way I can, to do what you can to prevent the Homeless Navigation Center from being located in downtown Oregon City. I live just up the hill from where a Father's Place has been located for several years. I drive by it multiple times a week. Since it's been there, I've seen all kinds of criminal activity day and night. Frequently, when people are, myself included, are stopped at the intersection or screamed at by people who are clients of that facility, I've seen them scream and yell and almost assault members of the cross-country team who are doing a training run there. Open drug use, abandoned vehicles, the list goes on and on. I bring that up because if the navigation center is located where it's proposed to be, you can multiply all those problems by 1,000. You can kiss away any awards Main Street might have gotten over the last few years because it won't be the same. Those people have nowhere to go after the building closes. They're not going to magically get on buses and go somewhere else. They're going to be where they're at. I know that the county commission is in support of this. Ironically, the chair of that commission voted or campaigned on stopping Portland Creep. And if this center is allowed to come here, that's exactly what's going to happen. And for the people who say, well, where should it be located? You're just a not in my backyard person. Here's what I say. For the homeless supportive housing services tax that voters in the metro area approved, Multnomah County voters approved it by 64%. Washington County voters approved it by 52%. Clackamas County voters said no by 53%. So my suggestion would be to let the people who voted to tax themselves overwhelmingly host this and any other proposed centers of the kind. They clearly want it. They voted for it. Let them have it. Thank you.
Thank you, Casey. I'm just going to say for the record and people who are watching, that it is not a navigation center. I want to be very clear. Navigation center is something that's defined in state statute, and this is not it. They are calling it a resource center. Basically, all of the services that currently exist today would be in this particular facility. So they're not new services coming to Oregon City, they're already here. Like Loved One, Father's Heart, housing assistance. So again, it's a resource center. So unfortunately, it got misnamed in the newspaper as a navigation center, but it is not that. So Linda? Well, she's next.
He needs to go first.
So Alger, if you want to go, then come on up. Alger Marsh, come on. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. They aren't numbered. I just get them in the order that they're there.
I want to thank Mayor McGriff and also you councilors for allowing me to come and bring my request to you tonight. I was asked to remove my friends from my driveway where they're living in their RV. Yesterday morning, I took the documents I'm going to be summarizing, and I hope you all have received those.
Alger, could you move that over closer to you? It moves. So.
Get a little closer to here. Okay, is that better?
City of residents, just,
Okay,
we
thank
know,
you.
but.
The state of Oregon revised their homelessness policy on July 7 of 21, and ORS 458.528 basically states that all levels of government, business, and communities are to help the homeless people to be able to have adequate accommodations. That includes both facilities and location. In addition, ORS 446.125 specifically states that those who own RVs or whatever facility they're living in are allowed to live on private property. They need the owner's permission, and there needs to be a proper hookup for both water and sewer. I believe there's a good reason for Oregon to have made those changes. It provides a means for caring for the homeless people with very little expense for the government. When the government provides the housing, it requires money plus time and energy to oversee the project. Oregon's House Bill 3115 was adopted in February this year. They delayed the implementation to July 1 of this year. They did that specifically to allow time for the local governments to develop compliant ordinances. I believe Oregon City would be wise to follow our state policies. If we continue to forbid homeless people to live on private property, then the city will have the added expense I just mentioned a moment ago. It will definitely be cost effective to allow property owners to care for their homeless acquaintances. and I believe you desire to use our resources wisely. I want to thank you for the time and effort that you spend to make things better for our city's population.
Madam Mayor,
Thank you for listening, and County Commissioners. My name is Linda Harrell, and my husband is a disabled veteran. We choose to live in our RV, which is parked in Alger's driveway, for numerous reasons. One is because it's ours, and we feel comfortable there. Also because everything is so expensive out there right now for rentals and buying, and I don't know if we could qualify for that at the moment. Alger's wife died 7 weeks ago. We became caretakers through the state of Oregon for her. Unfortunately, we didn't get to exercise that privilege because she was deceased before that. It's my desire to take care of Alger in his older years. He's 79 years old, will be 80 in October, and we have become family. We desire to take care of him in his older years. So that is the reason why we are in his driveway.
Thank you very much. So this has been referred to staff, and staff will get back to us about any other details. This is not anything we can do anything about at this particular time, because we don't have all the facts, so staff will follow up with us.
Correct, yep, we appreciate the information that's been forwarded to the appropriate staff in our Code Enforcement Department, Community Development Department, and our city attorneys to review the information, and we'll be following up.
Thank you. Okay, we have no presentations tonight, not even any fabulous presentations from John.
No.
So let's have the adoption of the agenda. Before we get to the number 7 on the consent agenda, I would like to pull item 7B, public improvement contract for Manhole Rehabilitation Project. And as exciting as that sounded to me, along with I couple this with my interest in pipe bursting, we need to go out and rebid this. So with your permission, we're going to go ahead and pull that. Staff has asked for this. So we have item 7A and item 7C. Are there any questions about either of those, or do we have a motion?
I move to approve the consent agenda minus item 7B.
Second. It's been moved and seconded.
Commissioner Rocky Smith.
Aye.
Commissioner Adam Marl.
Aye.
Commissioner Mike Mitchell.
Aye.
And Mayor Denise McGriff.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Under public hearings, we have item 8A, we have the second reading of ordinance number 231011, a legislative zoning code text amendment to the MUC mixed-use corridor zone district. So we'll have the staff report, and then I'll open the public hearing. We'll have the staff report.
Thank you, Mayor, evening commissioners. So tonight is the second reading of proposed ordinance 231011, a legislative zoning code text amendment to the mixed-use corridor zoning district. Staff recommends that the city commission approve the second reading of said ordinance and approve legislative file 2301. Be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Any questions? No? Okay, motion, please.
Move to approve second reading of ordinance 23-1011, legislative zoning code text amendment.
Oh, wait, before you do that.
Public hearing.
Seeing no members of the audience present, I will close the public hearing and ask for our attorney to read the statement.
Oh, hold on.
Typically, we'd finish the motion and get a second.
So
then
who's
we-
seconding it?
Did you finish the motion,
Okay, finish it.
Commissioner?
Okay. Second reading of ordinance number 23-1011, the legislative zoning code text amendment to the mixed-use corridor zone district.
Second.
Ordinance number 23-1011, an ordinance of the City of Oregon City approving a legislative amendment to Title 17 zoning, Chapter 17.29, mixed-use corridor zone district of the Oregon City Municipal Code.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Rocky Smith.
Aye.
Commissioner Adam Marl.
Aye.
Commissioner Mike Mitchell.
Aye.
And Mayor Denise McGriff.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, there we go with that one. All right, next we have, under general business, we have item 9A, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Initiatives 2023-2025 Biennium, City Manager, and Mr. Foyles, our HR Manager, Director.
Good evening, Mayor and Commission. Thanks for this time. My goal tonight is to walk through our plan to accomplish the city's DEI goals in this current biennium. Essentially, I want to introduce this next phase of initiatives and also get a sense from the commission if you think we're headed in the right direction, or if maybe you have suggestions or feedback for staff to consider. First, I'd like to just briefly note what we accomplished in the last biennium and how that work informs our proposal moving forward. During the 2021-23 biennium, the city contracted with MGT Consulting to embark on a set of initiatives to advance DEI in Oregon City. That was to support Goal 1. During that time, MGT helped the city achieve a lot of different things, but one of the final products was the DEI framework. MGT helped develop and presented to the Oregon City Commission this DEI framework, which is included in your packet, and maybe, I see Jacob has also pulled it up on the screen. So this framework consists of a commitment statement and 4 strategic priorities. Each of those priorities includes 4 or 5 initiatives that support those identified strategies. So it's this framework document, which the commission adopted in April, directly informed the proposed initiatives that we want to talk about today. So now in our 2023-25 biennium, the City Commission extended its commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion with Commission Goal 1, which is create a collaborative environment to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion, resulting in a safe, inclusive community and organization. So staff is now ready again to identify a consultant to guide the city and help accomplish this next phase of initiatives and projects. In the packet, I included a draft RFQ, request for qualifications, which outlines a scope of work, essentially a set of 6 initiatives in which we expect, what we would expect this consultant to help us achieve over the next year and a half. Let's see here. We propose asking the consultant to help us with these 6 initiatives. So there are actually 6 that are pulled from the list up on the screen. This document, that framework document, was really developed to help guide over the next 5 plus, maybe 10 years. And we pulled these 6 thinking they were an appropriate set of initiatives to take on this year. And you can see each strategy is numbered, and then the initiatives below are lettered. So I will cross-reference with each here. So our first on our list, Initiative 1A, design and implement an ongoing DEI training plan to enhance the skills, knowledge, and awareness of all city employees. We think this is an important initiative, and the idea behind this is to build a foundation of knowledge and awareness among city staff for more impactful and sustained DEI work throughout the organization. The second one is Initiative 1E, so under the priority number 1, letter E, which is solicit regular feedback from city employees on progress, successes, and development opportunities. We envision the consultant helping us establish an effective tool or process to solicit regular feedback from our employees. The third we came up with was Initiative 2A, identify innovative and consistent strategies to strengthen the employee recruitment process. We expect the consultant to help evaluate our practices and make recommendations. One we're always working on, but I'd like them to focus on. The fourth, Initiative 2B, review and improve selection process to ensure equitable opportunity. Again, we see this as critical to continue to build and maintain a diverse workforce. And then the fifth, Initiative 3B, establish an internal DEI committee to support the future design and implementation of the organization's work. We envision employees coming together who are devoted to advancing DEI within the organization and empowering that group to advise and actually implement just future initiatives, kind of a source of getting things done. And then the sixth, we thought, and we've heard, Initiative 4B, which is reestablish a DEI community task force that provides perspective on the resident experience and action plan process. We heard during the goal setting process, the commission is interested in re-engaging the community DEI task force. And I've also heard an interest in trying to establish this as an ongoing group, but not just with an end date, that can continue to be a voice of the community and an advisor to the city. We would look for to identified consultant to help set this up for success and for it to really find its way forward and how it can be sustainable. Right? So those are the 6 main initiatives we hope to advance through this current biennium. At this point, I'd like to hear from the commission. Does this seem to be like a smart or achievable set of initiatives that we can be proud of, or are there, others that you'd like to prioritize or elevate that you don't see on the scope of work?
Questions? Comments? So I appreciate the fact that you're going to reactivate the committee. Several of them have contacted me over the last 6 months, and I've told them kind of where we were. I think it would be, even if we're going to execute this, I still think it would be a good idea to just send out some sort of email to them basically saying, here's where we are, and are you still interested, are you still interested in serving? Because I think most of the ones I've talked to that were serving want to continue this work. And they were wondering why, we've had such a gap. And I said, well, because we were trying to implement stuff in phase 1, and this is the next step. Does anybody think that that's a good idea or not a good idea, just to let them know where we are in the process and kind of let them know that we're going to be calling on them again? I really was impressed with the diversity of the group and the comments that we received from them. And I think people were really being candid with us, which I appreciated, because those are the types of things that we need to know. I think based on some of my conversations that we had at the library with some of the members, I have been, I would say, more aware when I'm out and about in town doing things, and there were some comments made about things that were happening, and so I've been trying to make sure that I pay attention to that sort of thing. But I think that having them help us in this work is only going to benefit the city in the long run. Hopefully will benefit the community members as well that are participating, and then they can get out to talk to others. And I foresee at some point in time down the road in that first year that we try to have this group interact with some of the neighborhood associations. I think that would be also interesting and also maybe enlightening to some of the people who don't really know about what's going on with this process. Thoughts, Adam? Michael?
No, I think these 6 initiatives that are pulled out are all they're all good first steps, or second steps, however you want to count it, but they're preliminaries to several of the other ones. So I think you nailed it with the scope of work. I think this is good.
Any thoughts, Rocky?
So that list is a list that we're going to continue to go back towards too, I'm assuming.
Yes,
so
yes.
We're picking out ones to focus on first, then we'll go in what follows next. And
From the
and it'll be ongoing
that you
throughout
had.
the next,
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when that was coming together, right? We had some conversations about how much we could even bite off each year.
Right.
And it wanted to, I know the group wanted it to live on longer than just the next biennium. And so, yeah, I think I've always envisioned 5+ year endeavor to try and make sure we're hitting all these initiatives that came from the first phase.
Okay. And then we would have an opportunity, if there's something that comes up, we could take something out or put something in. Tony's nodding, okay.
I guess I do have one question. Sure. As I recall, that the previous task force was a mix of internal and external folks.
It was just external.
And so,
It was
No, it was all external. It was all
it was all
external.
what?
All external.
All external.
So no staff, I mean, a staff member or two were there often helping facilitate, but otherwise the group were all.
Okay, I'm recalling a different group.
There was
then. I'm
there was
sorry.
also an internal group, small group of people that were meeting.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
and you might
So
be
this
referring to.
is an external, when you're talking about 4B, you're talking about an external group.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay.
So in this list, there's two groups, an internal
internal
set of
one and an
staff to
external.
help kind of do the internal work in the city and then re-engage the external community task force.
Okay.
Made up
All
of
right,
community
great.
members.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, I think the other thing that this does was in terms of the internal work that we're going to do, I think this is going to be something that we can talk about in terms of the steps that we're taking and the fact that we're being very thoughtful in our approach to this as opposed to just sort of jumping in and trying to do everything at once. I mean, we can't. I mean, no city could really do everything at once. I think that taking logical steps, starting with our internal processes and how those relate to the external processes is going to be a boon, I think, in terms of recruiting. It's going to be a boon in terms of having our community know that, we mean what we say. And also letting those outside of our community know what we're, be aware of what we're doing as well.
So the four initiatives are what are going to be focused on by the consultant for the next biennium, correct?
The four overarching priorities, is that
Yes.
right? Yep, that came from the collective work at the end of that. MGT identified those priorities after talking to all the different stakeholders of the last year and a half. And then those initiatives down below were kind of tasked with supporting those priorities.
Okay, and then in future biennia, what is the long-term planning for what our investments will look like then?
That's a good question. We've talked about not getting ahead of ourselves when it comes to committing to something, but having a plan in place, right? Committing to things or dollars in future years that a commission hasn't considered yet. I think, is that what you're asking about, right? Whether this, we're talking about 2000 through 2025, but 26 and on, haven't made commitments other than like this document, but dollars, we want to wait for the budget process.
But yes, and I understand that, I appreciate that. But in terms of the scope of work that would remain undone after this biennium, how much would remain? Or how much do you think would remain? Because as the mayor was just saying, this is an ongoing thing, and we're not going to be able to achieve everything that we would like in these next 2 years.
That's a good question, and I am anxious to get my first set of quotes or bids from through this process. The dollars that were set aside last biennium seemed appropriate and worked well. I think we upped that slightly this year, so we'll see. Sorry, I don't know how to answer that question.
You say we have less?
Question. No, more this year.
Oh.
We upped it slightly for this biennium, but come to 2026, I'm not really sure.
Right.
If we kind of continued this path of picking a few of these initiatives, I think it's, that same dollar amount would help sustain over the next few biennium. But
Yeah, I definitely appreciate the fact that we can't be budgeting for future biennia. It's just for me, getting into this, I want to make sure that, given that it is a long-term process, that it at least seems financially sustainable for future biennia. And I just want to make sure that we know what kinds of things will be coming in the future. So thank you, I appreciate that.
I think, this is one of those, I agree with you, I think this is one of those processes where when we go through the budget again, that we need to be very clear with the budget committee that, this is an ongoing priority for the city. And even though we're determining what that is when we did our goal-setting session 2 years ago. In a way, we're kind of binding some of our future council people.
Right.
But I think it is a tied ribbon for the future investment in Oregon City and moving Oregon City forward. So that, I mean, that's kind of how I look at it. And I think that, as city manager said to me once, it's about time and we're ready. So do we need to, you don't need us to vote on anything, just basically by consensus, we want you to move forward?
I've got a sense that these 6 are a good way to go forward, and I'm feeling comfortable getting this posted and seeing if we can get somebody on board as soon as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing I would say, just a slight change under Initiative 4B, when you send the RFQs that, RFPs, just put, we're reestablishing our task force, because even though it says establish in the priority, that's kind of what we really mean.
Yeah, and I think we did in a little bit of a narrative trying to describe
yeah,
it was
I saw
reestablish
that,
something that had already.
I'd just like to express that my hope is, even though we won't all be here in future biennia, that as time goes on, we can begin to wean ourselves off of reliance on consultants and hopefully get more of this a part of just regular city operations and trying to make sure, again, my concern about financial sustainability and feasibility, that it's more incorporated into every facet of everything we do.
Well, that's the goal, is that we want it to be ingrained, that we're not going to be doing consulting forever, but we're going to set the framework and the foundation to make this a part of everything, and, updating our personnel manual and doing this and doing that. When we advertise, all of these things need to be just routine, rather than, okay, we're now trying this. So, yes, I agree with you on that totally. Okay, well, I think you have the consensus of the commissioners, and I'm sure if Commissioner O'Donnell was here, he would also say yes. He might be in TV land somewhere watching. Are we waving, Frank?
I miss him.
Yes. And Bob, if you're watching, hi, Bob.
Well, thanks so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next item on our agenda is 9B, city managers, he's not going away, city managers' performance evaluation, salary adjustment, and merit pay for performance. Mr. Foyles.
Yeah, that's me again.
Yes.
The city manager's evaluation was conducted in executive session on December 6th. The city manager's employment agreement notes, based on that review, the city commission may consider salary adjustments and or merit payment. The commission requested an opportunity, so during that time, the commission requested an opportunity to consider those actions during the next available commission. So here we are. My staff report noted 3 options, but I did wanted to clarify that could have added a 4th to make a motion to include both, right, a salary and a merit payment. I didn't want them to be completely mutually exclusive. That is another option. And I'll also hand out one piece of information that I thought would be helpful for your discussion. The handout just includes the city manager's current annual salary and what a 1% merit payment would be and what a 1% salary increase would equate to. So other than that, just commission requested this opportunity to have this discussion.
All right, so we'll wait for the handout. Rocky, oh, of course, it just went flying down there. Can you get it? Yep. Okay. When you come back by, would you please take that to the city attorney? Thank you. So we'll just take a moment to review this information.
Mr. Foyles, can you just explain the note about the 2.5% steps?
Yeah, there was some conversation during There was a question at one point. So the rest of the management job classifications, we have a salary schedule preset, 10-step system. In between each step is 2.5%. So a traditional step increase for a manager in Oregon City is 2.5% until you get to that top step. It was just context.
Thank you.
Okay, shall we begin the discussion? I think there was a general consensus in our discussions earlier that we wanted to do something for the city manager, but it wasn't determined whether it would be merit or salary or both. So I think that's kind of where we are right now. As I recall, I was looking over just very, very brief notes that I took, which is not very much. So,
Well,
please go ahead.
I'll start. I think that a merit payment is definitely deserved, and this would probably be considered government math. But when we think about how much money we saved as a city when we went through the cyber attack that we went through and did not have to pay ransomware, that most other organizations have to when they're faced with a similar situation, and we did not have to because of Mr. Conkle's leadership and everybody that works for him, both in terms of preparation before and in how we responded to it and how immediately responded to it. So I don't know if we need a motion at this point, but I'm going to suggest a one-time merit payment of 3% as a starting discussion point.
Rocky? Any thoughts?
So yeah, I agree with that. I think in past cycles, there's been a lot of improvement in this last year, I think, from concerns that I've had in the past. But in addition to that, in addition to the effort that's been made on improvement and just citywide, the example that you brought up, I think is a perfect example of how our city manager acts in a emergency situation, which I have had the experience of seeing him do many, many times, and I think it's one of the things he excels at. I think this time that proved to show again in that scenario. And it showed that he's hired the right people to deal with that situation. And it was perfect timing, by the way. What a first couple weeks that was for our new IT people. So I don't know. I've had some concerns over the past couple years. Tony is making a strong effort to, deal with some of those, fix some of those, change some things, work hard. And I couldn't be happier with the last year, what has happened. And I think he's showed that he's able to, face that challenge that we've given him. And I think it's worth a merit payment.
So I'll repeat a little bit of what I've said when we were doing our evaluation, but just the fact that we were able to think of the cyber event as just a blip in the last year, I think is a testament, again, to what you said, Mr. Conkle's leadership, as well as the people that he has hired, because those kinds of events can be debilitating for weeks or for months. And the fact that we were able to get through it, and that when I sat down, I was like, was that really this year? because it does not feel like it was this year, because it was handled so well and professionally, and saved us a lot of time and money and resources. I think that's just a testament to his leadership. Now, it's not for me to say that I hope we have more emergencies in the future so that we can award this behavior.
No, thank you.
But I will say that as we've been dealing with a lot of emergencies, it seems in the last few years, especially since I've been on, I've just impressed year after year. And so given that the salary has not been increased in a while apart from the COLA, I would also be interested in a salary increase. And so the number that I came in tonight with was 2.5 salary and 2.5 merit.
I'm not going to add anything because I am, even though we have not discussed this ahead of time, I am in lockstep with you. I totally agree. I know I jokingly said last year that I was waiting for the plague of locusts to happen because we've had everything else. So I do not want the plague of locusts to come. So just saying that, putting that out there. But when you look at the things that the city has faced over the, in the time that I have lived here, it's, I just don't, I hope the other shoe has dropped. We've had a lot of things happen.
And that our shoe closet's empty.
And the other shoe closet, yeah, the shoe closet be empty. So, but I support a salary increase as well. So you want to make a motion? Well, I mean, I can't, I can second it. Can't go there.
Okay, well, my suggestion would be, so I make a motion to increase the city manager's current salary by 2.5 and award a merit payment, a one-time merit payment of 2.5% as well.
I'll second it. Of course, that wasn't on his chart, but that's okay. Sir, go ahead, for roll call, sorry. We kind of just froze there and we were buffering. That's what it was, we were buffering here.
Commissioner Rocky Smith.
Aye.
Commissioner Adam Marl.
Aye.
Commissioner Mike Mitchell.
Aye.
And Mayor Denise McGriff.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. All right, next on our agenda is communications.
Yeah.
No, 7B is pulled from the agenda, not to be reconsidered, it's just pulled. They're going to bring it back.
Oh.
It's going to come back at a later meeting. We have to go out,
Thank you.
we have to
I
rebid it.
misunderstood. I thought we needed to hear
Yeah,
something
no, I
about
didn't
that.
say we were going to take it under general business. I said we're pulling it, period. So sorry, I wasn't real clear. Like I said, as much as I want to know about manhole cover rehabilitation, I'm serious. I find these things very interesting. I know it sounds bizarre, but there are some manhole covers that have problems. They leak around the edges or they make noise or whatever. So, all right.
Well, thank you very much, Mayor and Commission. I appreciate the kind words. I appreciate the acknowledgement of the effort of myself, but also my staff. They do an amazing amount of work every day on behalf of this community that is it just gets done, and it's accepted, and it's expected, and it's done well. I had the pleasure today of having our Winter Service Awards lunch, which is always a great time to acknowledge our employees, give them updates of what's been happening. And it is nice to stop and kind of look back over the last 12 months, because you do forget what happened because of how much we accomplish. And I think I've said this before, but I'll say it again, is that we have thousands of contacts with our community members across parks and the library and our police department and our public works and our planning department. And it is amazing how few complaints and concerns I get, how well we do customer service on a lot of difficult things. And I think we get better at it every year. I think our communication gets better, our response gets better. So while I appreciate everything you said, my success is directly related to this commission and their leadership, and my staff and the work that they do and how they do it. So I'm just really proud of them. I'm really proud of what we've accomplished. I think it's been a good year. We dealt with things good and bad, easy and hard, and we dealt with them well and got a lot accomplished. So I once again, thank you. I look forward to 2024 and moving forward there. Like I said to the staff today, I hope you all have a wonderful holiday, Christmas and New Year, and we hit 2024 running, and we all look forward to it. So thank you very much.
So just as a highlight, so who was our Employee of the Year?
No, we didn't get to that. Yeah. We didn't do that.
Oh, we
this
didn't do
year.
it this year?
No. Mm-mm.
Well, you mentioned the awards, or, so.
It's for service awards for
Service awards, if
years.
you wanted to highlight
Yeah.
anybody, any.
5-year, 10-year,
But, yeah.
20, 25, 2 or 3 25, including Chief Davis.
Woo! I mean, I know I signed them all, but that was a while ago, and I didn't memorize all of the names.
This is probably something I should have pointed out back during the cyber attack, when we were getting to our goal session and preparing our budget. There was something that did go wrong, really, really wrong. And John Lewis lost all his work. And I'm pretty sure there was like a 50-slide PowerPoint presentation of his budget. So that should be worth something right there.
Oh, I think it was totally worth something.
Mike couldn't find it. I don't know what happened.
Well, I think just looking back, is that how many days had Michael been on the job when the situation?
Like 3 weeks?
That's what I thought. It was about less than 2 weeks. Yeah. Yeah.
He got to know our system very well, very quickly. Yes.
Very quickly, yes. I remember I was talking to you when I was in India. We were like, oh my God. So anyway, are there any, speaking of communications, did you ever get properly introduced, Jacob? Okay, so since it's under the city manager's office, why don't you go ahead?
All right, so this is Evan Lee. He's the new assistant city recorder. Welcome him. He's here from Beaumont, Texas, so it was a long trip getting here in his car. And we're really excited to have him here.
Well, we won't hold the Texas part against you, okay? You came to a better place.
I left the swamps of southeast Texas for the mountains, forests, and the rain. It's beautiful. I absolutely love it. Been here about 3 weeks now. Everyone's been very welcoming, so it's been a lot of fun, and I've been learning quite a lot very, very quickly. Not as quickly as Mike, but it's been great. So thank you all.
So have you always wanted to be in municipal government as an assistant city recorder?
I spent a lot of time in nonprofit work before this, doing grant management, data management, and a lot of administrative work. This felt like a step in a similar path, but I enjoyed it.
Yes, and Jacob, I'm going to put you on the spot for just a second because you and I did some additional research based on the fact that we wanted to name the new facility downtown the Bandaloo. I think that came from our current chief, but we also did some research to find out in the codes where some of this stuff came from, and I believe you told me that it went back to the 1920s.
Actually, I think it went further. I believe the ordinance was 297, don't quote me on that, adopted in 1904.
Okay, so that's still, with the chief of police being in charge of inspection of privies and that sort of thing. So just know that that's under your job description as other duties as required. So we have some interesting things in our archives that I can tell you. So communications from commissioners. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is, I know I have the city manager send out an email, but this is also for the public if anyone's watching, which is that the legislative subcommittee that's taking a second look at tolling has finally scheduled their hearing for the Oregon City Westland Gladstone region, which is on January 6th. 2024 at 1 p.m. at the Gladstone High School auditorium. Everyone is encouraged to attend. I know that the 3 mayors of the cities have been invited to speak, and so they'll have 4 minutes, and everyone else will have 2 minutes. And so I hope to see my colleagues there. It's very important that we show up in numbers. I'm glad that they scheduled it in an auditorium. To my knowledge, one of the problems was trying to figure out a place that may be big enough, and so let's
150
yes.
people or more.
so let's show them that this is something that we're still passionate about, and I'm looking forward to being able to finally have that conversation. I was able to go to the last one in Wilsonville. It was very well attended. Lots of people specifically talking about their concerns with the fact that Charbonneau is landlocked, and so they have to use the highway to get to and from their residents. And so obviously we have a lot more concerns as well that need to be addressed. And I just really hope that we're able to do this respectfully, but also in a way where they are finally able to hear things that ODOT has not been willing to accept from us in the many meetings and conversations we've been a part of.
Thank you. I'm glad you brought that up. 5 years worth of conversation. And I mentioned to you when I told you I'd met with the governor, I indicated to her that it had been 5 years, and we're still dealing with an agency that has their fingers in their ears and is not really hearing what we're saying. We're not asking them to agree, but we're asking them, we want to be heard. We want to have our concerns taken seriously, and the concerns need to be taken account in their methodology and research that they're doing. There was online a really good article about the session in the Lake Oswego paper and kind of what Mayor Buck said and some of the other speakers. So you're also on the list, as I recall. I saw a list. You were on there. So who knows, the list is changing. So we're going to do our best there to say what we've been saying. I'm going to sit down with the convening group. It's Clackamas County probably after the first of the year, but I'm also going to be meeting with our staff just to make sure that we still have all the points that we talked about before. I'm sure I can get out anything that we already had and, could say that. So there were different topics. One of them had to do with diversion mitigation. And, I could say that in like 2 sentences. No, we can't. There's no way for us to mitigate the diversion. So did you also see some comments about the I-5, the one that was held in the Rose Quarter area? That was the information I saw about that was really interesting. Obviously, they don't care about tolling, even though it's going to affect them. It was a completely different conversation that they had with the legislative committee, but it had more to do with the freeway and its impacts and the expansion. They don't think we need any additional lanes, but, again.
I'll just add that one thing that might be a great resource for those of us who are attending is that we do have the Clackamas County Joint Tolling Values document that we approved and that every other city in Clackamas County has approved. That was one of our ways of trying to stay on message and coordinate with other jurisdictions so that we're all saying the same things. And so that document is available online for folks if you want to glean off of that for talking points as well. And then just on a different topic, I just want to give a shout out to our public works staff that we're heading into the season where they're going to be out on the streets, making it safe for drivers. And so I want to give a shout out to them as well as our police officers who are going to be working during the holidays. And so we appreciate their service and hope everyone has a Merry Christmas.
Mr. Mitchell.
3 quick things. The Metro Council did adopt the regional transportation plan, so now everything on that plan can be eligible for federal funding. There was an amendment proposed, and I don't remember which one of the initials groups proposed it, that would have only included the preliminary engineering phase of tolling in the RTP, so that Metro would have had to, or ODOT would have had to come back for any later phases, actually implementation and such. That amendment did not survive, so all of the phases of the tolling project are in the regional transportation plan.
It's interesting to note that MPAC approved the amendments, and then they got to JPAC and they completely
they took it out.
Torpedoed it. I was very unhappy with,
that's where it started.
With our representatives there. And I told Mayor Stovall and Mayor Callaway that I was not happy.
One quick thing that I meant to mention the other night when we had our work session on the facilities master plan, and we talked about the public outreach part of that. and I guess maybe it's implicit in what we're doing, but I think we need to be sure to reach out to the school district and their long-term planning committee to see what some of their facilities planned might be, whether they have surplus property that might fit into something that we need to do as far as a rec center or a pool, or they may be willing to do something with us. So anyway, it's, like I said, it's probably implicit in what we're doing, but I just wanted to make sure we do that.
I think you need to add, to say it, because one of the things that came up at the last impact meeting was we were talking about coordination with school districts and land, and as you recall, we had a situation a few years back under Superintendent Didaway where they wanted to buy a piece of property that was not part of an urban reserve or anything, and they had not even talked to us. And there is a statewide planning goal that says that cities and counties and special districts and school districts need to be coordinating. And I think I would say that I am aware that Dr. Spitzer is aware of that because of her work with the city of Hillsborough. So I think we need to emphasize to them even further that we need to coordinate. I don't think we want to have any surprises like we had with that particular piece of property, which we, told them no. So thank you for bringing that up, because I was going to mention that after we had our impact meeting this month.
The last thing I've got, and I don't like to get my information about city business from the newspaper, but the online newspaper referred to the tolling study that the city of West Lynn, Mayor Belskowski, I just butchered it. I thought I had it, dang it.
I know.
He put that idea forth with the possible financial contribution from
not set on a number.
Oregon City. Pardon?
We did not set on a number. He told us that he was going to
Do we
get,
need, is that something we're going to be discussing, or is that going to be just a?
we need to figure out what we can afford. And number two, what I asked him to do was he was going to get commitments from other cities and then divide it and then say, okay, can you do this? And I'm still waiting on that from him.
Okay, so that will be coming back to us.
Yeah, I've not heard
All right.
a number. Now, the paper said that we were going to commit something like $7,000,
Yeah.
and we did not say that.
I just wanted to make sure it's something that's under discussion.
I was going to say, I guess that would be, we had the work session, there was a discussion about this scientific survey that West Lynn was going to be a part of. So the first I'd heard as well was through the paper. So we have not been contacted or had an ask of us yet for participation or a contribution.
Well, that was the
staff to
ask.
staff level.
That was the ask at the work session.
And I guess I'd love clarification, because it felt like the direction was, yes, we wanted to participate. And it really was like, how much was it going to cost?
That's exactly.
I have signing authority under $50,000. Is this something, when I receive what the proportion is that you want me to bring back to you to approve? I was thinking that it was under $10,000. It felt like there was something that this felt like it was something that we wanted to participate in.
We had a consensus at the work session that we wanted to participate, and I threw a number out to him. I said, I think $5,000 and below would be reasonable. I said, but he said he was coming back.
Okay.
Once he got the commitment from all the cities. Some of them are saying yes, but they don't know what the number is. I said, so you've got this much from Tualatin, this much from the CPO. What else do you need? And who else have you contacted? So he was going to divide that up and give us a number, and I don't have that. He has not gotten back to me, nor has City Manager Williams. So I guess I need to get on the phone tomorrow and say, hey, so are you comfortable with under a certain amount that he can just go ahead and do it, or do we want, so I'm not comfortable with $10,000, but I think we need to see what everybody else is doing. So let me find out from him what everybody else is doing, if they've got a number, and I can get that to City Manager. So do we have a threshold number that people are thinking about that we might not want to go over?
I don't really have a problem with 10,000. If the city manager feels that it's proportional.
If it's
I don't want to just jump in there with that, but if he comes back and says, here's the populations and here's, and if 10,000 seems like a reasonable share, 10,000 or less, I'm fine with that.
Okay. Okay, I'm okay with that.
Okay. And I understand, yeah, it's not, we're just going to fill the gap,
Right.
as long
He
as
said-
it,
he
as long as
said
it feels
West Lynn was-
equitable.
He said West Lynn was going to fill the gap.
Wonderful. Can't wait.
I have that on,
Yeah. We'll see what that looks like.
yeah. He said, well, whatever we can do, and then they'll fill the, I said, good, because we're not filling the gap. You're filling the gap.
I appreciate the direction, thank you.
Okay. All right, Rocky?
I just want to thank everyone for a great year, and I hope that everyone gets a chance to enjoy some sort of a break with family and friends and come back ready to go. What?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it depends on whether you like your family or not.
I do. The holidays, it's a little bit too much togetherness sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes your family's a little too close, I know, yes. But I also want to thank the mayor for giving me this, because I actually have one reason I really wanted this.
And?
Because it's your name signed, calling this seal the Great Seal. Signed and dated.
No.
Say no. She loves this seal.
No, I do not. I hate the seal.
I'm just going to keep this on record.
I hate the seal. I'm going on record. I do not like the seal. As much as I love my friend Elaine Woolsey, who designed this thing, it is the most convoluted, awful thing. It's very pioneer-centric, and I don't like that.
Is this not your signature? Just, I don't know.
I didn't write the Great Seal. He wrote it. I don't think it's the Great Seal. The Great Seal is the one we had originally. Now, that's the Great Seal. And that's what they meant.
Nonetheless, I'm keeping this on
I
file.
know, you're gonna just rub that in. I want to go on record, I do not like the seal. I want it changed to something that's not so pioneer-centric. You know, we got white pioneers on there, we got wagons, we got everything in their dog on there.
I think there is a dog on there.
There might be, I would get a magnifying, oh, there's a beaver on there that looks like a dog.
Yeah.
But yes, no, this is horrible, you know.
I couldn't resist, sorry.
I know, that's all right, I hate it. Sorry, Elaine, I'm sorry, you're gonna come down and haunt me. I was so grateful when we took those pioneers off the cars, oh my God. Anyway, this is what happens when you have Elaine Woolsey designing your seal. I just want to thank everybody on the commission. It's been an interesting year. I can't believe that we're at the end of the year because it seems to me like the year just started. But here we are at the 20th, and we've got less than a week, 2 weeks before the end of the year, and then it's another year, and I'm thinking, oh my goodness. I want to thank all of our employees, whether I have any interaction with you or not. I appreciate your work every day. I want to thank all the department heads for being here when they could be doing something else, but thank you, it shows your support. I appreciate all the work that you all do, and hopefully we will have an easier year and you won't be here for 10 days and the whole place implodes. So, but nevertheless, everybody's doing great work, and just keep it up, and you know, we'll see each other before the year is out, and be sure to have a cupcake or something in support of Oregon City. I'll be over by the elevator on New Year's Eve, on Christmas Eve, singing our happy birthday song. So anyway, thank you, and we are adjourned.